Dogs use maps and compasses to find their way home. Lost dogs can return home over hundreds of miles, but how exactly do they do it? With a powerful combination of homing instincts and sharp senses. Dogs have inherited their homing abilities from the gray wolf. Gray wolves used to roam large swaths of Eurasia. This required them to form mental maps of their environment. Dogs likewise construct these maps, but their maps are different from ours. They are probably dominated by sense. Tracking is one method dogs use to navigate and orient themselves. That's basically following a scent trail. Dogs have a sense of smell 10,000 to 100,000 times greater than ours. They can also recognize familiar landmarks by sight and sound. Some wayward dogs likely orient themselves that way. They recognize the relative position of a familiar landmark to their home. Then they map out their current location relative to that same landmark. Using those points of reference, they're then able to travel a rather direct path home. This sounds very complicated, but dogs may be aided by an internal compass. Migratory birds, salmon, and whales can tap into Earth's magnetic field. The organs controlling magnetoreception aren't well understood, but dogs may also possess this perplexing ability. In 2020, Czech researchers published an interesting study. They recruited 27 hunting dogs for a 3-year experiment. It comprised more than 600 field trials. Scientists placed GPS trackers and cameras on the dogs. The dogs were then released into an unfamiliar forested area. The scientists then tracked the dogs when their owners called them back home. All of the study dogs ran an average of nearly a mile into the woods. Nearly 60% of the dogs in the study used their sense of smell to retrace their steps, but another 30% did something else. These dogs employed a scouting strategy. First, they would run a short distance along the forest's north-south axis. This was done regardless of where their handler was located. There were no familiar visual cues to draw on, so the dogs were likely navigating by Earth's magnetic field. Researchers dubbed this strategy the compass run. It helped the dogs find their humans more quickly than the dogs that used their scent alone. The authors conclude that dogs may pair these two techniques. They use both mental maps and the magnetic field to orient themselves when lost. Dogs can combine these sensory methods too. Following their nose is slower than scouting, but in some cases, it might be safer.